Hey, good morning. I am headed to work and I'm going to put you in the cup holder because you don't need to know how to get to my job. Now let's see if that works. Sometimes I accidentally turn it off. I'm good at that. I got my car fixed yesterday. Everything went fine. It was the bushings, the sway bar bushings had disappeared basically. They were no longer there. And so I got that fixed, and my car no longer makes that little ticka noise. It's not really a knock or a thump. It was just, I don't know how to describe it, but that's what it was. And it only cost me $193 total to get it fixed, which was fantastic. And Marty is laying in the neighbor's driveway. Shit. Marty just thinks this whole neighborhood is his place. Yeah, he's funny. All the cats are good. Everybody's good. I'm good. I hope you're good. It's Wednesday. Whew. It's funny. Some days I leave the house, I'm already exhausted before I even get to work. I feel like I've already done a day's work. I do all kinds of stuff in the mornings, trying to get out the door, and I don't know. That's just the way it goes. So I posted a video the other day on my other channel about my marriage to my first husband and what that was like. And I kind of felt like it was necessary in that video to describe the church and, how we met and just how that relationship came to be. And every time I talk about the church, there are always some people who will say the same thing. They always say, how could you not know that this was a bad situation? How could you be so blind? I just don't understand how you couldn't see it. And in a way, I'm kind of jealous of those people because I used to be one of those people, and I remember what it was like to not understand. And it was actually great, and I didn't know it. I think for a lot of people, you really can't understand unless you have been through something like that. From the outside, it looks very different from when you're in the middle of it. And I don't know how to get people to understand that. They just look at it like, no, I'm sorry. There's no way you didn't know what you were in was a bad thing. I'm sorry. I just don't see how anybody could get involved in something like that and not understand that it was bad. Well, thousands of people have, and new people are recruited into cult-like groups every day. There are theistic and non-theistic cults. It doesn't have to have anything to do with religion. But it's the same process, it's the same procedures that they use to get people in and to get people to stay. It works. It's effective. And it has nothing to do with how smart you are or how clever you are. It really doesn't. I'm convinced it doesn't have anything to do with that. I think it has a lot to do, though, with your previous life experiences. If you grew up in a home where there might have been, toxicity, narcissism, dysfunction of any sort, I think it kind of sets you up for it. And I grew up in in my opinion, I grew up in a dysfunctional home. There were a lot of things that I thought were normal and was surprised later to find out weren't. Like, I thought everybody lived this way. I thought everybody did this and that. To only find out later, okay, maybe not. I think I grew up in a dysfunctional home, and I do think and my brother too. My brother was a part of the church for 10 years. My brother is a certified genius, a member of Mensa, and the smartest human being I have ever met in my life. And he was a member for 10 years. He and his wife were members. She was a member, I think, also for about 10 years. Very smart, both of them. And but they got out. They're not in it anymore. They left about basically the same time I did. My first husband and I. They left around the same time. In fact, my brother was the one who basically spilled the beans to me about everything, like a day and a half before, not even 2 days before my wedding. he just let it all, he just felt like he had to say it. So that was what started the chain reaction that led to all 4 of us leaving the church, and my brother starting a website about it and leading lots of other people to leave as well. We became enemies of the church. They would they would talk about us from the pulpit, tell people to avoid us. They would call us out by name. We were evil, the devil had taken us over and we were deceived, and don't listen to anything they say. If you do, there could be repercussions, blah, blah, blah. Here comes a Bamalam avalanche. Hello. All right, sorry. So, yeah, there's always somebody. Whenever I talk about the church, there are always people who look at me funny, like, how could you not know? I mean, it's so obvious. Yeah, it's obvious to you because I'm explaining it to you. When you're in the middle of it, no one's explaining anything to you. You are in a constant state of, it's like a roller coaster. You never feel comfortable, and that's part of the technique. They don't want you to get comfortable. They don't want you to feel confident. You're always kind of off balance. You're never quite sure what to do. You're always screwing up. You're always being told you did something wrong. But if you grew up in a dysfunctional home, you may have an overwhelming desire to please other people because as a child that served you well and it helped you to survive in a toxic environment. So you carry that on into adulthood, even though it's not useful anymore, you continue to do it. And I was a people pleaser, to the extreme. I wanted people to be happy with me. It was devastating to think that someone was unhappy with me. I would do anything to, try to keep the peace, and that, because growing up, that served me well in a dysfunctional home to be that way. Why can't I go now? Oh, I can go now. Yay! Sorry. I don't know how to explain it to somebody who doesn't understand. But when you and toxic relationships, in my opinion, are just like one-on-one cults. It's the same techniques. It's the same experience. It's not a group. It's just one-on-one. And so the same things apply if you've ever been in a relationship like that. People will look at you and go, well, it couldn't have been that bad. I mean, look how long you stayed. I hear you, when you finally get the courage to talk to somebody about it. A lot of times, the worst thing happens. They will try to they will minimize it. They will try to make it out like it's your problem. Well, relationships are 50-50. So, you're saying, this person did this and that. But, you're part of this relationship too. And you need to own your faults and your responsibility in this relationship. You can't sit there and say it's all their fault. You just need to work on your communication. Oh my God. Oh, I love that one. No, it's not the communication that's the problem. They don't want to hear anything I have to say. I need to just shut up and obey. That's what it's about. And again, that can be in a group. It can be a relationship, a one-on-one relationship. It can be a parent. It can be a coworker, a boss. You can run into this anywhere, and it's kind of the same technique. So I did have several people say that to me. Basically, how could you not know? I refuse to believe you didn't know. Oh yeah, I chose to drop my life here and go up there because I don't know. My life had been going too well. I needed to be bashed around verbally for a little while and mentally messed up. Yeah, that's what I needed. I totally knew what was going on. No, I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was just because I was new. I'm trying to do everything right. And I'm engaged to this guy who is sitting here telling me, well, this is just the way we do things. You'll get used to it. It's not so bad. It's just because you're new and everything seems unfamiliar. It'll get better, after you've been here a bit. It's not so bad. No, it didn't get better. I felt like a constant screw up. And it pushed me to an extreme limit that I'm not going to discuss in a YouTube video. I didn't want to be on this planet anymore. It pushed me that far. I'm glad I didn't go through with it. Very glad. But I get so frustrated with people. I really do, because this mindset is so prevalent. There are so many people who feel this way. But again, I'm kind of jealous. Like, I wish I didn't understand, because you know what? If you had come to me when I was younger, before all this happened, you know, if you had asked me about people involved in groups like this, I would have said, yeah, well, they're not too bright, are they? Yeah, some people are just sheep. You could just brainwash them, you know, and you look at them as, I guess, kind of less than. And I think in a way it's self-soothing to do that. It's like your insurance. I will never end up in a bad situation because I'm too smart for that. I'm too clever. You couldn't suck me into something like that. The only people who end up in situations like that are dumb people, and I'm not a dumb person. So if anyone comes to me and tries to tell me about it, well, they must be dumb. They're dumb, or they're sheep, or they're just, you know, they don't understand how the world works, blah, blah, blah. It will never happen to me. Yeah, that would have been me before it happened to me. That would have been me. You can end up in a situation like that before you even know it. It's, yeah, you can. And I don't think you can explain it to people like that. I really don't think they would understand. And some people, too, I don't know if it's a lack of empathy. I'm not really sure what it is. Some people simply do not have the ability to see things from other people's perspective. They don't. Things are the way I see them, and that's it. There's no other way to see it. And if you see it any other way, well, you're just an idiot. You're wrong, or you don't know any better. You're wasting your time trying to explain it. They're never going to understand. And I know people personally like that. Like, they will never understand. And just, you're wasting your breath. But I'm going to put a link to a video, and I watched it this morning while I was getting ready for work. Jesus. Crotch rocket just came flying by. I'm going to put a link to a video by Dr. Ramani. She is awesome. If you want to learn about narcissism, she is one of the best on YouTube, in my opinion. Ramani. She is fantastic. But she put together a compilation video, and she does this sometimes, and I love it when she does. She will put together a video, and they're usually about 45 minutes long, where she will discuss a certain topic related to narcissism. And I think there is a huge heaping dose of narcissism in groups like the church. I think there is a ton of that in there. You know, there are other bad things too, but I think there's lots and lots of narcissism to go around. And the video that I was watching, she just posted it yesterday, was a compilation video about the time that you wasted in a narcissistic relationship. And it's really good, and it made me think about the church and relationships I've been in with people that I believe were narcissists. I mean, I can't diagnose anyone, but most narcissists are never diagnosed, because good luck getting them anywhere to be seen by anyone, a mental health professional, because they won't go. And if they do go, they're just going to shut down or blame everything on you. Most narcissists are never diagnosed with anything. But it's a great video that talks about, if you've ever been in a relationship like that, it talks about, you know, just the feeling when you get out of there, just the time and energy wasted is just mind-boggling. And you don't realize how hard you have to work in one of those relationships just to get through the day. Like, it really is awful. And what I went through, the mental gymnastics you have to go through to stay and rationalize it to yourself and others is just, it's exhausting. It is exhausting. And I think that is why a lot of people, when they finally get out of a narcissistic relationship, it's like they become superhuman. It's like you have this superpower. You are suddenly able to do more than you ever thought you could do. And I think it's because you without realizing it, you got used to working so damn hard that regular life seems like it's on easy mode. And you were able to do so much more. I know I was. I mean, I didn't enjoy being in a narcissistic relationship, but And I didn't enjoy being in the church, but once you're out and you finally start to recover, and it takes time, it's not going to happen overnight, but man, you might find that all of a sudden you are capable of way more than you ever were before. Maybe not. I'm not saying it happens to everybody. There are no absolutes in this, but yeah, maybe. So, yeah, that's another reason why I don't talk about the church a whole lot, because it's not a fun thing to remember and sit here and think about. It's not a lighthearted, frothy, fun little story time topic. So, and people also ask, will you make videos about your other 2 husbands? I don't plan to, especially the second one, because that was another not fun, lighthearted, frothy topic. It's not something I can look back on and laugh about. And my children came from that marriage. I'm not going to talk about that one. Occasionally I say things on here, but am I going to do a detailed story on it? No, I'm not. That was not a fun marriage, and I don't want to talk about it. And my marriage to Glenda the Good Witch was pretty, how do I describe it? Pretty cut and dried. Like, we got married, it didn't work as far as like living in the same house together, all 7 of us. We met online and we dated for like a year, and then we got married, and it didn't work, but we're still, we still like hanging out and being together. We just don't live in the same house, and we're not married anymore, and that works for us. That's really all there is to say about it. It's really not a convoluted tale with lots of interesting details. There's not a lot to it other than that, and I like that. I like the fact that it's so simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to have drama. And sometimes I don't know what to do with that, because I don't know if it's just because of the way I grew up or what I got used to. I feel weird with a relationship where there's no drama. It took some getting used to, but it's just nice. You can just be with someone. They're not going to stir shit up just to stir shit up. You can just be around someone and just be happy, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. It's great if you can actually find that, especially if you have a history of dysfunction. It's like winning the lottery to find that. It is so great. And there are people who live, I borrow a phrase from, what is the name of that movie? As Good as It Gets, where Jack Nicholson talks about people who, there are people who have good lives, happy lives, just lunch at the lake and noodle salad, and that's their story. And they never really go through anything bad, and life is just pretty smooth. I call these people noodle salad people. Noodle salad people, for the most part, are not going to understand what it means to be in a cult. They're not going to understand. They're going to look at you like a deer in the headlights if you try to explain it to them. And some of them will just look at you and say, well, I don't see how you ended up in that. I mean, why didn't you just leave? Or if your relationship was so awful, why did you stay? Why didn't you just leave them? It couldn't have been that bad. I mean, look how long you stayed. I don't understand. And I don't think they mean anything by it. I think they are genuinely confused. So if you've ever been in a situation like this, I understand. I get it. It's not so easy to just walk out. You can't do that, and if you don't understand, I don't know how to explain it to you. But I am kind of jealous of noodle salad people. I'm not a noodle salad person. I don't think most people are, but some people kind of are. It's like they have this charmed life, and I don't know, man. Nothing ever seems to happen to them. But yeah. But I got to get off of here. But I'm going to put a link to Dr. Ramani's video in there. Definitely check out her other stuff, because she makes some wonderful videos dealing with narcissism and dysfunction in general. But yeah, I got to go. But thank you so much for watching my cup holder. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again soon.